Well, please do forgive me first of all. I won't be able to stand up my leg. I'll do my best if I manage it. Chair, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me here after this heavy ordeal we have been faced through the Mediterranean Sea. First of all, let me explain to you what we did before we joined the Flotilla. As Justice for Palestine, we took the very first convoy to enter Gaza after the war, late February, early March last year. Justice for Palestine has managed to take, at that time, 35 tons of medicine with 10 vehicles loaded with these medicines, plus nearly 80,000 pounds has been taken to Gaza, and successfully we have entered Gaza. We were the very first convoy to enter after the war immediately. After we have seen and witnessed the devastation of the war in Gaza, we came across so many hospitals which is being destroyed badly by the Israeli occupational forces. One of these hospitals, it was Haifa Medical Center. It's based almost at the borders between Palestine 1967 and Palestine 1948, which they call Israel. And this hospital was badly devastated and used to serve the biggest majority of the Palestinian and the northern borders between the Green Line, Palestinian and Israeli states. That hospital was badly destroyed. The people who was involved in the service over there, or the managerial, they plead to us to help them to rebuild the hospital by providing them with the medical equipment. Since we came back from last March, last year, till before we left to Gaza, Justice for Palestine, we managed to collect 45 tons of medical equipment and aid to Gaza. The convoy of Justice for Palestine was the total of £750,000. That's what we were having, and we had nearly £40,000 in cash along one of these vessels. The aim was at the start to take the convoy through the land, whereas the Egyptian government has given us the green light to enter through Rafah to Egypt. But we have got a message from Free Gaza movement. They are very close friends and they are very great people. They contacted us, why didn't you come through the sea? We have got a big vessel, we called it Rachel Corey, and that is 120,000 tons, this cargo. You got 45 tons, we don't have enough load to fill it. So if you were to contribute with your load, it will be a very successful mission to our Corey. Is it fair enough? And by the time we reached the deadline, we managed to fulfill the shipment. It was totally loaded, 120,000 tons was on board that vessel. Mostly nearly 700 tons worth of cement, which is very essential for rebuilding the destroyed buildings and houses in Gaza. Machinery, building materials, like drills, building materials for joiners, blacksmiths, whenever they need to reconstruct the infrastructures for Gaza. We managed to put it along these containers to be taken to Gaza. 21st of May, we have loaded the ship in Dundalk in Ireland, and the ship has sailed. Whilst in the sea has been sabotaged by the Israeli Mossad, they managed to tamper the propeller in the ship, and they managed to block the exhaust of the engine in the water with certain materials to block it. And if the fume kept inside the engine, that's when it would blow up. But luckily within time, our engineers managed to find where's the problem, and they solved it. It cost us nearly £37,000 to repair this damage. So the Rachel Corey has sailed from Ireland to meet in the international waters alongside Cyprus, but has been delayed despite this problem. I had to fly from Manchester with some colleagues to go to Crete Island in Greece, which is we reached there. We left the, I think so, end of last month, end of May, and we were there 22nd of May. Sorry, the April it was the cargo in Dundalk, but in May 21st we flew to Greece, to Crete Island, and we met there with all the delegation who came under the umbrella of a Free Gaza movement, Mostly we had member of parliaments from Germany, from the Communist Party. We had from the as well people from Sweden, 4 MPs from the Sweden government, and we had from Norway delegation journalists. We had MPs as well. So we had people from Canada, we had people from Australia, people from New Zealand, from Indonesia. We had a delegation of nearly 45 people, MPs, and representative of the government, journalists, and very activists, very good people. We will become like a family. We spent nearly a week and a half together in Greece, taking exercises how to handle our boats, because we had 2 passenger boats. They were too small. Each boat will take up to 25 passengers on board. They're very fast ship, really very fast ship at the time. So what we did, we started training the people how to handle in the event of the Israeli were to try to pirate our ships or to take over or to kidnap us. How do we handle them? How do we handle them physically? And the procedures how to handle the boat in case it's overturned over or to be sank. So we had nearly a week of preparing ourselves mentally, psychologically, physically, and to get to know each other and to see with whom you really feel fit to be on board. Finally, at that time, as we were loading, I had a wee scooter, and I skidded off the scooter. I twisted my ligament of my leg. That's why I had crunches at the time before we sailed to Gaza. At the 27th of May, we have loaded the 2 ships, and one boat has took 15 on board and the other 19, and the aim was to sail through the sea till we reach Cyprus, the Cypriot side of Cyprus, to upload along our vessels another 20 member of parliaments from European parliaments. 20 of them, they were waiting for us. As we sailed, when we reached Cyprus, the Cypriot government has refused these MPs to come on board. And they refused them to come aboard any kind of ship to sail on the sea to come to us. And they prevented them only to take airplanes to leave the country that was determined by them. Afterwards, we have realized that the Cypriot government, they knew of the intention of the Israeli is going to attack the whole fleet of the ships under the flotilla. We stayed in the international waters for 2 days. As we there, we have Challenger 1 and Challenger 2. The 2 boats were their named. I was in Challenger 2. Through the first night, second night, in the middle of the international water, our boat Challenger 2 has developed a fault, sabotaged as well the steering. The wave was controlling our boats, sometimes to us to the left, sometimes to the right. So like as the wave wishes to divert our boats, we were following the wave basically. But our captain was smart enough to handle the boat. Then we called for Mayday to other ships. We had the ships 8,000. That was for the Free Europe movement to break the siege. They are Palestinian organizations. And they came on board to see us. And they said, we are going to pick up other people. If you want, we can take you on board. And then we'll pick up the other people, but we'll be crowded. It was the Marmara, the Turkish ship, big ship, massive, not far away from us, nearly 3 hours sailing. So we said we will wait for them. And precisely after a couple of hours, we just appeared to this massive ship in the sea as the Titanic. It's absolutely amazing ship, to be honest. So we spoke to them and immediately they welcomed us aboard. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, the minute we came aboard Marmara, we were physically searched by the Turkish security on board to see if anybody have any weapons, any sharp, any kind of weapon whatsoever. Is it knives, guns, sticks, anything. We were searched. Our luggage was searched thoroughly, as if you're coming through a checkpoint at the Israeli sides, or if you are coming on board of any other countries, absolutely 100%. When they were satisfied, we entered. I stayed in the Flotilla for 2 nights. Then I had to move to the 8,000 ship to do certain networking. For some reason, they allocated me for my knowledge of my studies to do networking for on satellites. I have moved to the 8,000 the following morning.